Hi everyone, it's Dr. E and I'm here with your weekly instructional video for week 12 in English 1301. If you haven't, please take some time to watch the supplemental video because I go over some pretty important pieces of information related to technology and how we are going to approach the peer review process. So take some time to look at that. I am showing your week 12 schedule here, but this is in D2L, but I'm going to scroll down in the document that is posted in D2L just because I want it to be very clear that next Monday is the last day to withdraw from a class with a W, so it doesn't go against your overall GPA. It's a personal preference, it's a personal choice. If you're dealing with a lot this semester, you may look at your schedule and think one of your classes may have to just kind of be put off, right? You may have to drop the course just to kind of get through and be successful, and that's completely your choice and you're right as a student. If it is for our course, please reach out to me so we can kind of see if there are options for you to be successful in the semester. But do that sooner rather than later. If you're somebody who hasn't been participating lately in the course, you probably aren't watching this video, but just in case you are, you're going to want to reach out and email me so that you don't just get dropped for non-attendance, okay? So just make sure that you're doing that with all your classes if you've taken a couple of weeks off for whatever reason, just to hopefully you've reached a more stable place. So now I'm in D2L just to remind you that you can download that free Microsoft Word software. You'll need to do that for this week. I go through all of this information in the supplemental video and walk you through it, but you have access to a free version of PowerPoint, Excel, and Microsoft Word is going to be really important this week. And then I have the links for the revise and resubmit folder where you can revise and resubmit some of your assignments as well as potentially earn some extra credit. And then some important information about the reading journal. So if you haven't taken a look at all of that, now's the time, okay? Now I'm gonna move on to the content area so we can look at week 12, okay? So give me 1 second. So you'll note that for this week, we are preparing our paper topic portfolio so we can peer review those in our groups, which I'll walk you through in a second. And then we're reading DePeter's article about how to write meaningful peer review praise. And then I want you to review the assignment guidelines and video for the paper topic portfolio, just to kind of refresh your memory if it's been a while since you watched it. It may be the first time some of you have watched it. So DePeter has this article that really, I think, effectively kind of identifies some good strategies and methods for peer reviewing. For some of us, it may have been a while since we did this last, or we don't have great experiences with peer reviewing. Whatever the case may be, DePeter kind of gives us some direction about how to make sure that we are investing in that feedback. So, not only your grade depends on that, sure, but you want to offer that help and that assistance to one another in your group. So make sure that you're keeping that in mind, okay? So everything's posted on Monday, and then you have to post your portfolio, right, Thursday in the discussion area, okay? Your 15-point grade is going to be based on, did you follow the guidelines? Did you, follow MLA formatting? Just generally, are you doing things as well as possible to meet the guidelines of the assignment and also posting on time? Because your group members are going to be depending on that. By Sunday, you should peer review all of the portfolios of the folks in your group. So for some of you, it's going to be 2 other people. For some of you, maybe 3 other people. So make sure you're timing that pretty well because that's a quick turnaround. So I always encourage you in a week like this, post before Thursday if you can. If you can get your paper portfolio ready to go, then post it so that your group members can start that work ahead of time. And then if you can get your feedback before Sunday, that's great. Get that back so that people can look it over and respond and thank you for what you've offered. So 35 points is a pretty big deal on Sunday, and that is, did you respond and offer feedback to every person in your group? And I'm going to go in and look at the document. Did you, for every group member, provide meaningful feedback, or is it clear that you just rushed through it? You did very surface level readings. You didn't provide any kind of useful feedback. So your grade is dependent on how intensively you read and respond to everybody's work. You know, are you just, you know, doing surface level readings and just thinking of things like grammar or spelling, or are you getting a little bit more in depth and offering constructive feedback and praise where necessary? That 15 points is going to be if you are responding to all the people in your group. So this means if Mary reviews your portfolio and gives you that feedback, are you then going in to respond to Mary's post and saying, hey, thanks, I appreciate that you noticed this, this, and this, right? You need to show that you read all the feedback. Okay, one of the problems I've had in semesters past is people aren't taking the time to actually view their feedback, and that shows in their grades. So don't be that person, right? Go in and look at the feedback, especially because people spent time on it, you know? So, and then what we have to look forward to next week. So if you scroll down, you'll see that we have the supplemental video, so watch that. Review the video for the paper portfolio, and remember to look at the rubric that walks through the assignment bit by bit. And then I've posted a template for you. This is another reason you'll need to download a version of Microsoft Word to whatever device you're using so that you can actually download the template on your computer and use it. Some people have emailed me about, I can't download and use the template, it won't let me type in it, or whatever the case may be. It's likely because you have an outdated version of Microsoft Word, or you don't have Microsoft Word on your computer, right? So you need to download that to make sure, you know, that you can use it. So this is the template. It looks like most of ours. Again, double click up here, put your name at the top for the header. You know, put all your information in here, put the proper due date in MLA format. The title is here, so just leave that. And this is where your first abstract starts. I want you to notice that the text is italicized, which is in the instructions. So you have the little I up here. Make sure that it is kind of leaning. This is where you provide some feedback and context for the post that your people will read below. This is where your revised post will go, all right? Include or excited with your 3 sources. And I put 3 here because typically we'll have at least 1 source in each of our paper portfolios. So just double check that, because it is a requirement that you have at least 1 source or 1 quote in each of your paper topic posts. So that may be a revision you need to think about now. You have 1 space here. After leaving that space, you have your second abstract paragraph for your second paper topic post. Then you have, you know, so it's italicized. Then this section is not italicized because it's actually where your revised paper topic post goes. A space. And then you have your third. So you see how the italics is separating everything as well as the space. So we're just kind of organizing there, okay? This is where your final paper topic post goes. And I put a reminder that you need a works cited, right, for every text that you reference, every video, article, chapter, whatever you're referencing in your paper topic post. And I put, you can go to the Purdue OWL website, and on the left-hand side of the MLA section, find MLA Works Cited for books, for our course text, or MLA Works Cited electronic sources for an article. So just briefly, this is the MLA, you know, the link is in various places on D2L. On the left-hand, they always have videos. Ugh. On the left-hand side, you can click for books, or you can click for electronic sources for an article. So if you're talking about Jennifer 8 Lee or something, hers is going to be a page on a website, okay? So you would enter it like this, but you would, of course, double space. I want you to note that MLA does have a citation generator, but while I can, you know, say, yes, use this, you still have to double check that it's correct. So it is on you as somebody who's working with MLA to double check that it's put together properly and spaced properly. So don't just assume that it's going to do this correctly. You have to double check, okay? So in going back to the template, I do want you to note, if you've made it this far in the video, then you will benefit from this. If you scroll down in the template, I have somewhat of a works cited. So I have works cited here. It is properly spaced. I want you to note that Finley his work is, this is called a hanging indent, right? So some of you were struggling with this in your annotation exercises. So I want to show you how this works. So if you're setting up your own, I'm looking at the paragraph. Okay, so a lot of times people's inclination to indent that, because this is backwards from a paragraph, right? You have the first line that juts out to the left, and the line below it in an entry is supposed to be indented. That's called a hanging indent. But oftentimes what we want to do to set that up is just hit the tab button. Well, that didn't work, right? I'm hitting the tab button and the whole thing is going over. So how do I even do that? I'm just going to right click here, go to paragraph. In this special section, you can select hanging. So it's just going to indent that second line for you, and it's going to follow MLA format. There aren't any spaces between entries. That last name is sticking out. That's part of MLA. It's supposed to stick out so that whoever's looking at your work can easily locate the last name of the person you're referencing up in here. If you have a quote by somebody, you should be referencing them by their last name, and then I can find the entry here. Okay, so this is what you can use for our course text. I've given you an example with the chapter on evaluating sources. You just need to update that depending on what chapter you may be citing, and update the page numbers because that's part of MLA as well. Okay, so that's just general kind of items included in the template and required this week. I do want to go back to week 12 because then we have the peer review actual discussion area where you'll post your work. So if you click on week 12, it has all these instructions. Just take your time. Don't be overwhelmed by them. You do have a prompt, so you need to type responses to this in the text box as well as uploading your document. Okay. I want you to note that the way it's been set up is that you will actually pick your group. Okay, so I don't want you to be overwhelmed by this. You are going to follow the instructions that are here. Okay, so if you can look at the brief instructions. I've just kind of taken a screen grab here. So this is what you should be seeing because I've made it so that you can self-select. You can enter a group of your choice, right? You won't necessarily see the people in there. I'm sorry, I can't view this as an instructor, so I can't necessarily view what you will see. But this is so that you are certainly in a group of people who are getting involved, right? You're not in a group of one person and nobody else is offering you any feedback. It's set up so that once you go in, you can choose a group, and once that group is full, it closes down, so you just move to the next group. Okay, so you know the people are getting in there and offering that feedback. Just a reminder that when you go in and offer the feedback to those people in your group, you need to save it as a PDF. That's really important. Make sure that you're doing that because oftentimes people won't be able to see your feedback if you post it as a Word document. So you need to kind of make sure that you're engaging with the discussion area this week so that if people say, hey, I can't see your feedback, you can get in there and make sure that you're posting another version where they can see that feedback for you. I do want to offer the reminder that this week I did give you some feedback for the reading journal, and so that may also give you some clarity on the annotation exercises. In the supplemental video, I talk a little bit about Choi's work because I am working on giving you feedback for the Choi annotation exercise. So I give you some pointers about summarizing and how to really focus your attention when you're summarizing, and how to always refer back to the author. And so what I've done is when I offer you feedback, I want you can revise and resubmit that and put that in the revise and resubmit folder, but I'm going to reopen the area for the Finley annotation for Finley's video so that based on some of the things you're seeing this week, if you know you need to redo Finley's article or video for the annotation exercise, you can do that and resubmit it. So I will hold off grading those until people have been given a chance to resubmit. So that will just be open for another 2 weeks. So you have a little bit of extra time to work on those revisions. All right, if you do have any questions, make sure that you're posting in the Q&A area of our discussion board, or you can always shoot me an email, but just make sure you're posting those questions or sending those emails as soon as possible because it's kind of a busy week. All right, good luck.